I am Lieutenant Dr. J. Chinna, Assistant Professor of Commerce, ABV Government Degree College, Jangaon. Today, I am teaching on forms of business organization. In this slide, the forms of business organization are in private sector and public sector and joint sector also. Business organization represents a judicious combination of five economic resources, popularly termed as 5 M's, that is men, money, material, machinery, and management. Business organization can be categorized into two broad categories: production of goods and services, and second is distribution of goods and services. Historically, sole trading is the oldest form of business organization. With the development and growth of trade and industries, many new forms of business organizations have come into existence. So, we are going to broadly divide it into three parts of form of business organizations. Under private sector, again we have to divide it into two parts. One is individual ownership and second one is collective ownership. So what is the meaning of private sector here? Private sector enterprises are owned and managed by the individuals or group of individuals. On the basis of ownership and management, private sector organizations are classified as under. That is number one, sole trading concern. A sole trading concern is one of the oldest and simplest form of business enterprises. A business unit which is owned and controlled by a single individual is known as a sole trading concern. The person who manages it is called a sole trader. A sole trader may use his own savings for carrying on the business, or he may borrow money from his friends and relatives and from others also. Under the collective ownership, again we can divide into four parts. Under that, the partnership firm businesses comes first. Sole trading concern, with its limits of finance, management risks, etc., finds it difficult to cope with the expansion of business in long run. Thus, became necessary to find some alternative form of business. A partnership form of business organization provided such an alternative. In partnership form of organization, two or more than two persons come together to conduct some kinds of business actively, jointly, or collectively. The persons who are all owners of the partnership firm are individually called partners and collectively called as firm. The name under the which of the partnership is formed as called a firm name. Next, Giant Hindu family. Giant Hindu family business is a unique kind of business organization which is peculiar to India. Among Hindu families only, it comes into existence due to operation of the Hindu law. According to this law, After death of the Hindu, his business comes to be jointly owned by three successive generations, viz. son, grandsons, and greater grandson. This interest in inheritance is called co-partnership interest, and the members of the giant Hindu family are known as co-partners. Only the eldest member in the family is allowed to conduct, manage, and control such business. He is called Karta or manager. After giant Hindu family, there is a joint stock company. A joint stock company as a distinct form of business organization developed soon after the Industrial Revolution in 30th century in England. A joint stock company is created by the operation of law and can be dissolved only by law. It is article person created by law having a separate name, a common seal, a separate legal entity, and perpetual succession. The liability of its members is limited. The company has a very large capital, which is divided into smaller parts called shares. The persons who describe shares are called shareholders, and they are all owners of the company. Next, cooperative organizations. The cooperative organizations started first in Europe countries. The main objective of the movement was to bring needy people together to achieve a common economic goal by way of cooperating trade in India. The cooperative movement started in 1904. The first Cooperative Trade Societies Act was passed in 1904. Generally, the basic aim of any form of business organization is to earn profit, but the fundamental objective of the cooperative form of business organization is to serve the people. It can be said that the main objective of the cooperative organization is organizing and rendering service to its members who have a common economic interest. And next we have to discuss about the public sectors. Public sectors again divided into public sector and private sectors. Giant sector divided into public sector and private sector. So we can divide the public sector into two public sectors divided into four parts. Number one is government companies, board of companies, commissions, government departments, statutory companies. Public sector organizations are owned and controlled by the government. If a need arises, the government may invite public to subscribe for its shares and debentures. Public sector undertakings are classified as under. Number one, government companies. In government companies, whereas 51% or more shares capital is controlled by entire the central government or state government or local government or jointly. Some such companies are Hindustan Machine Tools Limited, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Aeronautics, nationalized banks, Life Insurance Corporation of India, and Air India. These are the comes under the government companies. Second one is boards and commissions. Boards and commissions are formed by the government for specific purpose only. These organizations functions independently within the framework of the law formulated by government. Some examples of such organizations are railway boards, Maharashtra State Electricity Board, Khadi Gramadyog commissions. These are the comes under the boards of commissions. And third one is government departments. Government departments are established by the government for the smooth functioning of the administration. They are independent bodies and functions as per the rules and regulations laid down by the government. Some such departments are Income Tax Department, Revenue Department, Excise and Customs Department, and Educational Department. And last one is statutory companies. Statutory companies are established by the Special Act of Parliament of India. Such companies are significant from the nation's point of view. They are required for the all-round development of the nation. Such companies are State Bank of India, Reserve Bank of India, Life Insurance Corporation of India, and Bhabha Atomic Research Centers. These are the comes under statutory companies. Whereas joint structure companies divided into two parts, private sector and public sector. The meaning of the private sector is called private sector enterprises are owned, managed and controlled by the individuals or group of individuals. The management of private sector is by an individual or by a group of individuals, and ownership of the private sector is owned by individually or collectively by private individuals. The main objective of the private sector enterprises is to maximize profits. It should be regulated by the special acts of the government, which is the Partnership Act 1932, the Companies Act 1956. Recently, the Company Act amended into 2013. The creativity of the public sector, as the private sector operates on principle of risk and rewards. These are the meaning of the private sector. Then the public sectors. Public sector enterprises owned, managed and controlled by the government or government departments. The management of the public sector is by the state government or central government or government departments. The ownership of the public sector by the government or government departments. The main objective of the public sector is social welfare only. The regulated by the special acts parliament such as SEBI, RBI, SBI, by the state or central government such as Indian Railways. This is the meaning of private sector, public sector. Now, broadly, we have to discuss about sole proprietorship. Who is the sole proprietor? What is the meaning of sole proprietor? We have to learn here. And what are the characteristics of the sole proprietorship and advantages of the sole proprietorship and disadvantages of the sole proprietorship. We have to learn in this lesson. A sole trading concern is one of the oldest and simplest form of business organizations. It has been a operation since the birth of our civilization. The business unit which is owned and controlled by a single individual is known as a sole trading concern. A person who manages it is called a sole trader. He is the owner and the sole controller of the business. It is known as a sole proprietorship business or single entrepreneurship or individual proprietorship. We can see here, according to B.O. Wheeler, a sole proprietorship is that form of business organization which is owned and controlled by a single individual. He receives all profits and risks of his property in the success or failure of the enterprise. According to James Stephenson, a sole proprietor is a person who carries on business exclusively by and for him. He is not only the owner of the capital of the undertaking, but it is usually the organizer and manager and takes all profits or responsibility for losses. This is the concept of the sole proprietorship. See here, what are the characteristics of the sole proprietor? Number one is one man ownership and control. A sole trading concern is owned by an individual known as proprietor. He is the sole owner and master of his business. He independently manages and controls the business without any interference from others. He is solely responsible for the decisions taken by him. And second characteristic of the sole proprietorship is unlimited liability. The liability of the sole trader for the debts of his business is unlimited. The creditors have a right to recover their dues even from the personal property of the proprietor in case business assets are not sufficient to pay their debts. And third characteristics of the sole proprietorship is profit sharing. The proprietor is a sole proprietor, risk takes manager, financier, and decision maker in the case of a sole trading concern. Therefore, he is entitled to enjoy all profits of the business. At the same time, he himself bears entire losses, if any, resulting from his business operations. No separate legal entity. Sole trader does not have a separate legal entity from his business. For all legal business purposes, he had his business or regarding as one and the same. The personally owns the assets and owes the liabilities of his concern. And second one is the no separate legislation. In India, partnership firms are governed by the Indian Partnership Act 1932. Giant stock companies are governed by the Indian Companies Act 2013, and cooperative societies are by the Cooperative Society Act. However, there is no separate legislation governing sole trading concern in India. Second one is registration. Since there is no separate act for sole trading concerns in India, a sole trading concern does not require registration like a partnership firm or a company. Any person who has many money can start a sole trading business. He just has to obtain a license from a local authority like municipality or gram panchayat. Next, duration of the sole proprietorship. The life of the sole trading business is linked to its owner, that is the sole trader or proprietor. Thus, the sole trading business is constrained by limited existence. If his sole trader dies or is incapable of doing business and has no legal heir to continue with business operations, then his business comes to an end. Next one, a local business. Due to limited capital and unlimited liability, most of sole trading concerns confine their business operations to local areas. However, there are some visually sole traders who have expanded their business operations successfully. And finally is simplicity. Last but not least, sole trading is the simplest form of business organization, free from legal and perpetual formalities, administrative control, internal rivalry and disputes, and market threats. Being small in size, a sole trading concern finds it easy to adapt to rapidly changing business environment. These are the main and characteristics of the sole proprietorship. What are the advantages of the sole proprietorship? Here, nearly 11 advantages of the sole proprietorships are: number one is easy formation. Anybody can form the sole proprietorship business. A sole trading concern does not require any agreements or registration. That's why anybody can start a sole proprietorship business. It is very easy to formation. And second is business secrecy. The business secrecy is of vital importance to the success of any form of business organization. Being sole owner, the sole trader is not expected to share his trade secrets with anybody else. There is also no need for a sole trader to disclose his accounts of any other materials fact to the public. That's why the secrecy of the business of sole proprietorship is very secrecy. He won't disclose his secrets to any persons. And third advantage of the sole proprietorship is flexibility. A sole trading concern is highly flexible type of organization. A sole trader can easily expand his business operations or can restrict them too. Since the sole trader operates on small scale in local areas. And fourth one, advantage of the sole proprietorship is relationship with employees. The functioning of the sole trade concern is generally informal, and the sole trader is in direct contact with each employees of his firm. This promotes better communication, develops understanding, reduces conflicts, and develops harmonious relationship between the sole trader and his employees. This also motivates employees to work hard and with greater initiative. And fifth one of the advantage of the sole proprietorship is smooth business operations. Since a sole trader is able to establish a harmonious relationship with his employees, he can avail all possible help and cooperation from his employees. This helps him in smooth running of his business. Similarly, absence of the interference from the government or external agencies also helps in smooth conducting of business operations. And sixth advantage of the sole proprietorship is quick decision and prompt action. The management of the sole trading concern is vested with the sole trader himself. He is not required to discuss or seek advices from anyone while taking decisions. This helps him to take quick decisions and prompt action in all business matters like pricing, distributing, advertising, etc. As a result, he can take immediate advantages of the business opportunities. And seventh advantages of the sole proprietorship is a lower cost of management. The business operations of the sole trading organization are mostly managed, supervised, and controlled by the sole trader himself with the help of his family members or relatives and sometimes through paid staff. At the same time, small concerns are not constrained by the labor laws. This reduces the overall cost of managing business operations. So we can say ninth one, eighth advantage of the sole proprietorship is effective control. In sole trading concern, all decisions are centralized by the sole trader to himself again. The scale of business is limited and restricted to the local area. Thus, the sole traders himself plans all important activities and executes them. And ninth advantages of the sole proprietorship is better coordination. The size of sole trading concern being unlimited, a sole trader can easily coordinate the various operations of his business unit. This maintains are the unity of purpose and unity of direction in the organization. At the same time, the sole trader can develop a high degree of group cohesion by directly motivating and encouraging employees and working with them. Tenth advantage of the sole proprietorship is encourages competition. There are a number of evils association with the large and monopolistic organizations. On the other hand, a large number of sole trading organizations dealing in same commodity promote healthy competition. Generally, a large number of sole traders selling some commodity are located in the same marketplace, which promotes competition. This benefits the consumers. And last and least advantages of the sole proprietorship is social significance. Sole trading organization is important from social point of view. Those are self-employment, a diffusion of ownership, and development of values. These are the main social significance of the society. These are the advantages of the sole proprietorship. We have learned advantages of the sole proprietorship, as well as we have to learn here disadvantages of the sole proprietorship also. What are the disadvantages of the sole proprietorships? We can discuss now. Number one, disadvantages of the sole proprietorship is a limited capital. The sole trader has limited physical and financial resources. He raises capital from his personal savings or borrowings from friends and relatives. He may find it difficult to raise loans from banks and financial institutions. It is obvious that the financial resources of a single person will insufficient for business growth and expansion. Thus, a limitation of finance is major handicap for a sole trading business. And second one is unlimited liability. The liability of sole trader for the debts of his business is unlimited. The creators have a right to recover their dues even from the personal assets and property of the proprietor in case his business assets are not sufficient to pay his debts. He cannot even take calculated risks due to the fear of unlimited liability. And second one is a limited managerial ability. The business operation of the sole trading organizations are mostly managed, supervised, and controlled by the sole trader himself. However, one person cannot be an expert in each and every field of the business, such as purchasing, selling, accounting, etc. The sole proprietor may not be able to use the service of experts for the wants of resources. It may be hinder the growth of his business. And next, a limited liability. The life of the sole trading business is linked to its owner, that is, the proprietor. Thus, a sole trading business is constrained by limited existence. If the sole trade dies, are incapable of doing business, and has no legal heir to continue with the business operations, then his business comes to an end. At the same time, the affairs of the business come to stand still due to the prolonged illness of the sole trader. This is also one type of disadvantage of the sole concern business. And next one, hasty decisions. In case of sole trading concern, a sole trader is the only decision maker. He centralizes all major as well as routine decisions to himself and does not consult his subordinates before arriving at the decisions. Sole traders cannot even hire the services of consultants due to the limitation of resources. Due to this, there is a greater possibility to hasty and wrong decisions. Next one, a lack of specializations. The sole trader has to undertake a sole work relating to his business himself right from planning to its execution and control. He is a jack of all trades but master of none. He cannot afford to avail the services of experts and consultants due to the limitation of resources. Due to all these constraints, a sole trade cannot avail the benefits of division of labor and specialization. Next, disadvantage of the sole proprietorship is limited span of supervision. A sole trading concern being a one man show. A sole trader generally has to tackle varieties of business related problems on his own. Therefore, he becomes difficult for him to supervise the work of his employees effectively. The problem becomes even more acute in the case of large sole trading concerns. Thus, the span of supervision of the sole trader is limited. And next are disadvantages. Uneconomic size. A sole trading has to operate on a small scale due to limitation of physical and financial resources, limited managerial ability, and limited scope of supervision. Due to the limitation of resources, he cannot take advantage economics of large scale buying, producing, and distribution. This increases his overall cost of production and distribution and thereby the prices of goods. And next, disadvantages of the sole proprietorship is uncertainty. The life of sole trading business is uncertain. It depends upon the life of sole trader being small in size. It also gets affected by changes in the external environment, tastes and preferences of customers, changes in fashion and technology, and government policies. If sole trade fails to cope with these changes, then he may suffer losses which may endanger and survival of his business. It is also one type of disadvantage. And next one, weak bargaining position. A sole trader has a weak bargaining position both as a buyer and seller. A sole trader has limited financial resources and commands only a small part of total market demand. Therefore, he finds it difficult to dedicate his terms in the market. At the same time, he can become an easy victim of sudden change in the market or a rising in number of competitors. And next one is employees turnover. A sole trader as a owner of the organization may not consult his employees or even may not trust them. He may not like to delegate important works. He centralizes all decision making to himself. Thus, he may adversely affect the psychological of works. They may feel that there are no growth opportunities for them. So that this results in high labor turnover in small business. Okay, these are the main disadvantages of the sole proprietorship. Okay, thank you very much.